Welcome back to this HTML series. In the video, we will talk about forms and interactive HTML elements. Forms on the web are how we get things done. We log into sites through forms, we buy things through forms, request a search, add content to a site. These interactions all happen through form elements. By using HTML form elements, we tap into the power that's built into the browser. Let us start by creating a simple form that people might use to sign up for an email newsletter. We want to collect two fields, their name and their email address. We'll start by using the form element opening and closing tag. Now let's make two fields in our newsletter sign-up form. Name and email. We'll make these form field names into labels. Then we want to add the actual places where the form fields go. The boxes where someone will type their name and email, we do that with the input element. Input is a bit different. First, we don't close this element, mostly because this element is so old. It doesn't have the same structure as the more modern elements. The input element is what's called a replace element, meaning it's a kind of marker for the browser that tells the browser the functionality that you have input and stick it there. This is where the magic happens. We also need a way for people to submit our form. We want a button they will click and boom, they've signed up for our email newsletter. For that, we're going to use the button element. Whatever words we put in the middle are the words on the button itself. We can make the button say whatever we want it to. See what it does. Well, it's unstyled, so it looks like it is 1995, but the functionality looks great. So what does this do? Well, right now, it doesn't do anything. We have to hook this up with some kind of backend to give the form some place to go, to give it some method by which to send the data. I'm not going into how to set up backend right now. Let's stick to thinking about HTML. I'm just going to put an action and method attribute here to make my demo work. In case you are alarmed that I'm using a get method here, yeah, that's not a recommended practice for a real website. It is super insecure, but it works for the purpose of making a demo. So forgive me, let's all promise never to use a get method on a real website. So let's see what happens now. But it should be printing out the data that was sent. And that part is blank right now. The data didn't make the journey. This is because the input fields don't have what they need to report the data that has been entered into the form. For that, we need an attribute to input called name. Let's add name equals name to the first input element, and name equals mail to the second. We can call this whatever name we want. Let's try this. Oh, but again, it might seem like we're done, but this is not going to work for everyone. It only works if you are using the web the way that I just did, with a screen that I can see. Let's make the web for everybody. If we look at our markup, we can see the problem. The label and the input are just sitting next to each other on the page. They aren't actually connected to each other. We have two options for tying these together. First, we can add a for attribute to the label and add an ID to the input with a matching name. I'll say for equals email on the label and ID equals email on the input. We can also call this whatever we want as long as the two names match. Or we could wrap the label around the outside of the input, which clearly communicates to the browser. Both works, it depends on the markup structure you want. See, now when I click on the label name on the page, my cursor shows up in the box and there is a focus state, a blue ring around the box. So yes, both codes work, that's what we want. Clicking on the label is just a quick way to test it. These are the basics of building a form using HTML. Hope we understand. Next, we will leverage more power that the browser offers to provide. Thanks for watching. I hope this is very helpful. Do not forget to subscribe to our platform and stay tuned.